There is a podcast about an island in the North Atlantic where people have been looking for an incredible treasure for more than 200 years.
Hello and welcome back to Could It Be?
An Oak Island podcast.
We are your hosts, Deidre and Dustin White.
Yes, we are, and here we are. What's up, everybody? Let's talk about some Oak Island.
Yes.
A little bit overdue, but we're here.
But we're here.
We're going to be talking about Season 8, Episode 12, Digging Their Heels In.
Let's see here.
So, this episode aired exactly 2 weeks ago today, and we didn't have a regular episode of The Curse of Oak Island last week. That's why this kept getting pushed. And we had a big excursion.
Yeah, you guys knew we were out of town. So.
Yeah, we went to Las Vegas for a wedding of our friends. It was beautiful. It was fun. And we got to meet a couple of our awesome listeners, Jeff and Dana. And then, you know what Jeff and Dana went and did?
What did they go and do?
They went and wrote trivia questions for us last week.
They did. That was pretty awesome.
It was killer. So we want to say up front at the beginning, it was awesome to meet you, Jeff. It was awesome to meet you, Dana. And it was awesome to win against you playing Oak Island Trivia because I actually got to play since we didn't write the questions this week.
True.
And I kind of won. Just
yeah,
saying.
But you also didn't.
How didn't I?
Because you're a host of a podcast. And so what are you just going to like keep a deck for yourself or something?
No, but I'm just saying I won, but Karen, one of our listeners, also tied me, so she was also a winner.
Oh, got it.
And then we had Kathy and Jen and Mary rounding out the tops. So congratulations to them. If you don't know what we're talking about, you can join us on Monday evenings at facebook.com/Oak Island Podcast to play Oak Island Trivia, and you can win awesome Oak Island stuff. That's what happens to people that play Oak Island Trivia. Yep. Yesterday, I spent, oh my gosh, hours.
He did. He spent a lot of the day prepping stuff for trivia.
Well, not just prepping stuff for trivia, like catching up from and mailing out prizes. Yes. Like I sleeved so many Oak Island trading cards.
Yeah, because they all come in their individual sleeves. And
yeah, but it was fun and it was cool. And if you never played, you really owe it to yourself to go and play Oak Island Trivia Mondays.
Yeah,
5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Just do it. It's fun. We have a great time. Like there's this community.
I know they all love seeing each other and like not.
Sometimes they ignore us and just talk to each other, and it's
a lot of times,
and it's great and it's fine. They're probably doing that right now in the chat, right?
Probably.
So, anyway, we wanted to just say that it was a lot of fun and we're gonna do it again, where someone else is gonna write the trivia questions, and I'm gonna play, and you have a chance to beat me, because I literally do not want anything to do with the trivia that week, and when we were with Dana and Jeff, they were like talking to Deidre about the trivia, and I'm like plugging my ears. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it because I wanted to be, nice and
fresh. And
well, I just wanted to be like, I didn't want to know anything, right?
I know.
And it was fun. So I enjoyed it. Thanks, Dana. Thanks, Jeff. It was cool. All right. So should we talk about the Curse of Oak Island? Or do we have something
first? Jeff wants to know what's on your hat. Oh. And I think this is a perfect time to mention it. It's an ROC hat. That's right. So we had put in an order to ROC. They have a rescue ranch, the ROC Rescue Ranch, and they sell swag. So you can go on there and buy some of your own swag. Got a little personal note from Vanessa. Oh my gosh. I freaked out. It made my day.
She was fangirling.
I'm always fangirling. I'm the worst.
Yeah, you are.
Doesn't matter who it is. I'm always a fangirl. So yeah. I have a matching hat. Also got a beanie. They have the face mask, the gaiters that say ROC on them. They have shirts. So go check them out. Support a good cause.
Yeah, this is people in the chat when we're live asking about this hat I'm wearing.
Yes.
People that are listening just to the podcast, because there's thousands of those people. Yeah, I'm wearing a hat. It says ROC. If you're down with ROC, yeah, you know me. That's all. That's where I'm going to leave that.
Okay, and let's just leave that all together and head into the episode.
All right. So, digging their heels in.
Okay, where do we want to start?
They begin at the swamp. Do you want to do swamp action, or do you want to do money pit, or what?
Gosh, it is. That's There's so much that goes on in the swamp. I feel like maybe we shouldn't start with the swamp.
Oh, you want to tackle something else. So you want to tackle the wash table near 10X, because that was also a focal point, something that they really...
Yeah, let's go wash table and then maybe over to Money Pit and then the swamp. Okay.
All right, so we have wash table action going on over by 10X.
Yes. Alex, Peter, Dan Hensky, and Michael John.
Yeah. So,
also treasure hunter now.
Yeah, he got. Is that an up? Is that like an upgrade,
or is promotion?
That's a promotion.
Promotion?
Really? The week before, basically, he was Billy Gerhardt's Employee of the Year, and now he's like, nope, I quit. I'm taking my life in a different direction. I'm now a treasure hunter.
Well, Billy's a treasure hunter and still works, like under his name. So why can't he be a treasure hunter for the Gerhardt umbrella too?
I suppose. Sure.
Yeah. He is. He's a wash table engineer.
He's an expert. He knows what it's about. Most significant finds off the watch tables here have come from Mr. Michael John.
That's true.
All right. So they're searching spoils from caisson 8B, which was 10 feet southwest from one of our favorite boreholes, OC-1.
Yes, 10B. 8B is from last year. And we hear kind of like what do I want to say? Doug says when they go over to the bookbindery that they've been going through spoils that they ran out of time from last year.
Yeah, like we didn't even hear of this.
Yeah, so
at the time. So
I would like to point out how nice and like round and like a spot on number this is 8B instead of...
They had a 9.5 later on, so it's a little bit...
Yeah, but this is from last year. 9.5 is fine. It's all the other cattywampus stuff that doesn't go with the grid.
D 9.25 was my favorite. So
Dash 6249er walkie-talkie. Speaking of, I wanted to say, so over at one of our favorite podcasts, The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond. Yes, we love other podcasts. They are interviewing Laird and Guppy.
Laird, Guppy.
And they're looking for...
We did that once.
We did. It was a blast. We had them on... we had them on...
We had them on for a pregame.
The pregame before the season started.
The first episode.
Yeah. And then we interviewed them last year. And actually, they're both going to be back for postseason.
What?
Cat's out of the bag.
Like, for our podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we're chatting with them after.
Sounds like fun.
But I wanted to say that they were looking for questions, like in the group. They have a little thread going.
How do you submit questions to them? Do you have their email?
Well, what you do is join their group, the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond, and that's where you can watch their podcast. But there's a thread in there about, looking. If you have questions to ask, submit them there on that. Just because as the chat gets going, sometimes we get missing questions. What I was trying to get to is I have a question to submit, and why in the world the naming has changed. Because, I've never talked about how much it bothers me.
Oh, my gosh. Get over it.
Living with me has to be a horrible, horrible thing.
It's okay.
Aw, you're so sweet.
I like it. I like it pretty good.
You like it pretty good.
Yeah, so their podcast over there on the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond, it's only like a live stream at this point, right?
Yeah, but you can, they also live stream it over to YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Jay Freeman, I forgot the numbers on there. Jeff, if you're here, throw the name in, or Linda.
I want like actual podcasts. Can we get them to do like where I could download it and listen to it
over
later?
On iTunes and stuff? Yeah, I know they were talking about uploading it.
We need that, guys. That'd be good.
Stream.
I like
if you don't have time, we'll hook you up.
I consume my podcast that way. All right, cool. Well, anyway, go there and participate. It'll be fun. All right, so back to
carry on back to our podcast.
Back to look in the chat. There's Jay something.
Yeah. So Jay Freeman 9.
No, it's Jay Free.
Jay Free 906. I believe that's on Twitch and on YouTube that you can find it for the live stream.
So go find them. Give them some love. They're good people. All right, Alex. Peter, Dan Hensky, and Michael John. We just
yes.
Okay. They're doing wash table stuff. They're finding 8B. Stuff. They find some wood first, right?
Yes,
a little chunk of wood.
Oh yeah. Hensky pulls it up and he says it. Looks like a piece of planed wood. Yeah, so like it's been worked.
He's got his tool.
Yeah, his stick. Dan's
stick. He's got his tool and he's like, oh, they're poking stuff.
It didn't look like a bone this time.
It looked more like a stick.
Yeah, it looked very stick-like.
Yeah. So then Alex, Lagina, our hero, like his sister's hero too, apparently. That's Remember that?
Yeah, when she blew up the giant superhero.
That was pretty good. Anyway, he's out there looking. He finds something incredible.
He does. He picks up what looks to be a big piece of leather and is like, whoa, what's this? Looks to be leather. And
he hands it to Peter.
And Peter's like, yeah, it's definitely leather, dude.
And he said, like Peter said, it kind of looks like something from a boot, like
a heel,
like a heel of a boot. And so, yeah, I mean, looks like okay. And then right after that, like literally, Dan Hensky pipes up and says, "Yeah, that looks like about 1400s." And it's like Dan Hensky.
They give it to Dan.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think of that? Yeah, it looks like a piece of footwear, Yeah, I mean, it'd be something from like 1400s. And Alex laughs at him.
Everybody would laugh at that,
And Hensky's just thinking, looks like something from the 1400s to me.
Dan Hensky's looking at it like, yeah, well, I'm carbon dating it right now,
I know. The guy triangulates things in his head. He can carbon date in his head. Like, he has every superhero known to mankind. He's like, oh yeah, there's a sluice way over here. You want to know where this random shaft is? Let's take Laird Niven's advice and just ask Dan where the treasure is. Go stand there and we're going to dig.
That's what they should do, but whatevs.
Because Dan's the man.
Yeah, he sure is. So,
anyways, Alex laughs. We all know what comes later.
Yeah, we'll get there.
All
right, so they bag it and
tag it.
And what did Alex say? Something like that could be a breakthrough. So could it be?
Maybe. But the piece of leather Steve found definitely can't be, apparently.
Yeah, so they're kind of done with that. But then should we go on to the end of the show where they date that, or?
Yeah, we can. Why don't we do that? That kind of rolls together. So
I guess we should do the field trip.
Field trip.
Yeah, field trip to the Dawson Print Shop in Halifax. We had Mr. Charles and Mr. Doug.
Yes.
Tag team in a field trip, and like literally, Doug's like, "Oh, I love this place."
He's like, "I love." Downtown, and just they look so happy. The sun's out. Like Charles has his hair did, and they're out to have a good time.
Yeah, they're ready.
Yep, ready to hit the road.
And so Doug and Charles, they meet with Joe Landry, a rare manuscript conservator and leather expert.
Yep.
And they brought him a couple pieces of leather to check out. Not just that heel, but another piece of leather. What was that from?
So that one was from borehole 8A, and then this one was from 8.
Yeah, but the 8A one. You found that originally.
I don't think that's Guptill's leather.
Oh, I thought that's what you were harping on about.
I was, but then as I'm going through and taking my notes, I was like, wait a second, I don't think it came out of that caisson, the spoils they were going through. Because wasn't it OC1 that they pulled out that Michael John pulled it out, and Steve was like, oh yeah, it's a book.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, this could be the biggest find of the year.
Yeah.
And then Laird came over and crushed his dreams.
Exactly.
And that's hurt your heart.
It does. It really hurts my heart that Laird's this dream. I rewatched the pregame interview we did with them. And it made me laugh just because we hear about, Laird's nickname and how Laird is giving Steve a hard time and says sometimes it's just a rock and not a diamond. Steve's very proud because he found less rocks this year.
Good job, Steve. We're proud of you too.
He found leather. I don't know. I just want to know if that leather was tested too. OC1 isn't far from 8A and B, and we got a solution channel in there. That shoe could have been all kinds of mixed up.
9 to 10 feet, right?
Yeah, seriously.
And how far did the toonie travel?
10 feet.
There you go.
Look at that.
It all coming together, right? All right. So Doug says that they're from different caissons. These two things they wanted to look at, Yeah, but they look similar and are wondering if they're possibly from the same object or associated in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe says it's not likely to be from a book binding, but because it's not the way that leather would attach to a book. But he says that based on the weight and the way that the holes were punched, and these two sides indicate a garment. So,
and it would probably be like a finer,
fancy,
or someone with money would have commissioned it.
Yeah. So like, literally, that's like Charles's thing this year. He's like, "Is this high end?" Like he says that about everything.
He wants to know if the knob is high end. He wants to know if the clothes are high end. Charles, I want to know if your clothes are high end. He was wearing Columbia on this episode at the bindery, in case you're wondering.
It's high end, sure.
No, I mean, it's like, it's good outdoor wear.
Yeah. Yeah, but, it's just funny because this leather had many very fine holes, indicated something very expensive because, like, it took more time to make. It wasn't just thrown together.
Yeah, you wouldn't, something that would be less expensive. You don't want to spend as much time on it, right? So you're going to space the holes further apart than something like this. So this isn't just your typical work boot that you're going to trash, or someone that would have been a worker in the shaft. This is nice stuff. Maybe these are the Emperor's new clothes.
Somebody lost their favorite shoe. That's all I'm going to say. Somebody did.
Somebody.
All right. So Doug points out that had it been laborers, they would not be wearing clothes that took so much time to make, because that's what the guy was kind of indicating. Whatever this is, it took a long time, longer to make because it was more intricate, more just fancy.
Yeah, so. Just like I was saying. Besides that,
so now then after that they show him the shoe part, the leather heel-ish looking thing. All right, and so based on the weight of the leather and the shape, he said it would probably be from a higher end shoe, more wealthy customer. Charles adds that it could have been owned by an officer or a sea captain. So maybe.
Yeah, well, why not? They have lots of theories with military and sea captains, and maybe Columbus came by to take a look at what the work was doing, and his shoe got caught in a
pit of despair.
Pit of despair, and it like ate it alive. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so they do point out that it can be carbon dated because it is an organic material, and that they agree that it needs further investigation. So guess what? That's what they do.
Of course.
And then we get results.
The results.
The results are in. I feel like Maury Povich or whatever, right?
Yes. The lie detector test has determined that is Columbus's shoe.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And so in the final war room, which is where we get the results, there's a bunch of people there, whether on the screen or in the room.
Marty, Rick, Jack, Laird,
Gary,
Charles, Craig, Scott, Steve, Alex,
Doug. Everyone wants to know.
It's a who's who.
Well,
Rick, where's Billy?
He's working.
No, he's probably at the other head of the table that this didn't catch on.
That's true.
That you couldn't see with the camera. All right, so like everybody's there, and they're just like talking to Dr. Krista Brousseau, right? And
which was great to see her again.
Yeah, well, we've seen her a couple times this year. Right?
I know. So, yeah. I like hearing from her. She's always got good analysis.
Yep, and she's like no nonsense. She's like, hey, this is just what it is.
Yeah,
this is it.
She's like, I hope at the end, she's like, I hope it was helpful. They're like, yeah, it was.
Yeah, like she's the kind of person. I'm glad the show has people like her, because you're like, you could just look at her and know she's not like embellishing anything for the show.
No, she's
she's just like, nope,
straightforward, no BS.
This is what it is, and this is it. So
she's a Laird.
She is a Laird.
She will crush your dreams if they need to be crushed.
Yeah, but man, did you see some of Laird's reactions in this?
Oh my
section?
Gosh,
he's just like,
I loved it.
I loved it.
There was like aha moments. I swear there were like light bulbs coming up over Laird's head that like wouldn't shut off.
And Laird was like, no.
Yeah.
Like I could see it in his face almost, where he like, okay, so negative Nevin, your dreams got crushed, or maybe
that's
crushed,
what Jack was feeling like.
Yeah, he's like, gotcha. Yeah,
we'll get there.
But like Laird was like, wow, like maybe I do need to like learn something about the money pit after all. Because
he likes everything else.
Yeah, we talked to Larry, and he's like, yeah, money pit, meh. But like everything else is like.
Well, this kind of like I'm trying to put questions together to speak with Laird about at the end of the year, and because just thinking of, we talked to him right before this all started, you know, they couldn't really say anything. I'm really interested to follow up on some questions I have for the trial team. It's going to be good. I can't wait. Speaking of Laird, he had too many friends on Facebook.
He did have too many friends on Facebook. Yeah, let me look this up real quick.
He was like, okay, you have to convert to a page. But anyways, he made a page, and which is how we share our podcast via Facebook, because it's public to everybody. You can follow along. You can get the content.
Yeah, you can like legit not even click like or follow on us and still be able to see our stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's what Laird did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a brand new Facebook page that you need to go out there and like.
Please do.
Because like legit, it's crazy.
Oh man, he's sharing so much awesome stuff.
Yeah, so it's called Oak Island Archaeology. Go check it out. Like it's crazy. Like he's posted so many pictures of like last year's stuff from the digs that they did out in Smith's Cove,
and the last couple years, stuff we've never seen. We always see him walking around with the camera.
Close-ups of the U-shaped structure, people. Yeah, like okay, I can't even like. Let me look through here. Oh, he shared this morning evidence that St. Kilda was inhabited 2,000 years ago. And it's like some other archaeological thing, because he shares more than just Oak Island archaeological stuff. It's amazing.
Oh, it's seriously amazing. It's so well done. He's jumped in and just really gone for it and shared some really great stuff. He's, answering questions, and I think his goal is kind of to dispel any myths that are out there about archaeology. And it's great. It's a great way for, like, if you've got kids that are interested in archaeology, well, I mean, this is like the real stuff.
It is.
Like, what a great way to share.
It's the good stuff. Yeah. So he has images that he posted from his first archaeological survey of Oak Island, so go check him out. Definitely worth a follow, worth a like. I like it.
I like it.
I'm cool.
Be like me. I'm cool and I follow. Don't be like Dustin. Be like me.
I'm way cooler than you.
Okay. I think we actually had this discussion yesterday.
Yeah.
And it came out with I'm cooler.
Okay. You probably are.
Okay, so, back to the war room. Back to the war room.
Wait, you know who's really cool? Craig Tester.
Oh my gosh.
And I love his facial expressions when he's holding back like juicy information.
Anytime he's getting ready to deliver dates, especially if they're just like wild, he gets this smirk. And he's like, guess what? He loves to deliver these.
Yeah.
They tee him up, right? They're like, Craig, we have...
You know what's really funny?
What?
So, like, Marty has the paperwork right there. It later on shows, like, the dates and everything. But I know, like, deep down, I know that Craig says, you can't look at this until I give you this information. Because, like, their reaction's very genuine. They're like,
yeah.
What?
Because Craig loves to deliver the shocker, And
it's so good.
He does a great job. They're like, okay, you have the spike or whatever it is. This time, the leather, right?
Yeah.
So, he is like... It's kind of sometimes it's a head scratcher, or but he says in regards to the leather, there's two different time periods, but they're so close together and the gap's so small that it's basically one time period. It's like a couple years or something. So you're like, okay, so maybe it didn't happen during those 3 years. So if you push it all together, then you're looking at it being 95% sure that the dates are 1492 to 1662.
What?
Like,
that's like insanity. That 1492 number is insanity.
Insanity. And you know what? Henske's going, who's laughing now?
Yeah, gotcha.
Named it. Carbon dated it in my head.
Yeah.
That guy.
That's a Henske for you.
I'd say he's...
So later on, or like in this episode, Gary does a full Drayton.
Yeah.
Well, Henske did a full Henske right there. Like that's all Dan Henske.
Yeah. Dan the Man Henske.
Yeah.
The man, the myth, the legend.
He is. Yeah. So Marty is shocked. Alex is
God
shocked.
smacked.
Yeah. And then I'm looking at Deidre's notes, and she says, "I guess Dan Hansker was right." LOL. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So Jack says this is overwhelming information, and Marty says, "I mean, Columbus could have been wearing the shoe." And he laughs, because he's not being serious. But
he is.
No, he's not.
He is. He's because technically he could have been.
No, he couldn't have been.
Yes, he could have.
Columbus didn't go that far north, okay?
You don't know that right now. I mean, Oak Island's an enigma wrapped in an anomaly or whatever. And we are literally changing North American history here. So you have no idea about Columbus's shoe and whether or not it's in the not bottom of the money pit anymore.
It probably wasn't Columbus's shoe, but what?
Well, I got it 95% sure it was.
Okay, so Columbus didn't land on the mainland,
Have you spoken to Columbus personally? Then no, I didn't think so.
Okay, let's go on.
Okay, carry on.
All right, so you wrote here that Laird looks like he's about ready to fall off his chair.
He does. He's shocked. Laird's at the head of the table, and I feel like Craig told him to sit there.
Yeah.
Because you need the shot.
Probably. And so the late date, the 1662, that's still 140 some years prior to the discovery of the money pit. Why is this piece of leather 100 and 50 feet or something down in the money pit? Why? How? Why?
So
why?
And they wouldn't have necessarily been burying something new, right? Okay. You're burying older things. So maybe it was 100 years old when they went to go bury it, but still, why?
Legit, why is somebody's shoe 100 feet down in the money pit, in the 1600s? Please answer me this question, or the 1500s, or the 1400s. Please. It just makes no sense, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And so Laird's shocked. Rick asks Doug about what Joe Landry said about the leather, and Doug says that it's something that they didn't expect, was that he felt it was more refined and a dress type of boot, and then, Charles probably thinking to himself, yeah, it's
I lost my shoe.
No. Charles is because I said it earlier, he's the one really wanting the high end stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a high end buyer or something.
He's a high end buyer. He's very invested in, he's becoming more of the spendables guy.
Yeah, he's like the new Dave.
Yeah, he's # Team Dave right now. And so
it wasn't a work boot. It was something,
and they expected it would be.
Yeah, well, you would expect it would be, because literally you look at who's digging these pits, it's not the guy that's in charge. So why is the guy in charge in a hole 150 feet deep? And why do you leave his shoe?
Maybe they tricked him. Remember when Jack was digging his own grave over? Maybe they'll go back later and find Jack's shoe shoved in a hole down there because it got stuck. Maybe they tricked Columbus in the same way. They're just a little bit further. The scan says it's over there, and then he's a really eager digger, and he's like, "Rah."
Columbus is not digging any holes.
You don't know? Have you talked to Columbus?
No,
I didn't think so.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So
I win.
Jack says to Laird, "Are you starting to believe there might be treasure here?"
But he says it with this glee on his face, he won one against Laird. Yeah, he's gotcha. Are you starting to believe?
He's like, gotcha.
Yeah, it feels like a Peter Pan moment where he's like, "Do you believe?" And Laird's like, "Well, it's indisputable, right?
You can't argue with the science,
right?"
Yeah. Gary points out that 1492 piece of leather could be significant. It would be significant anywhere in North America. Anywhere. But it could be 1500s, and it could be beginning of the 1600s.
It could be 1492.
It could be 1493.
But there's 2 years in there, it wouldn't be, because we smashed those together.
Yeah. It is crazy.
It is. And I mean, Rick and even Marty both are using Gary's words. They said they're gobsmacked. Yeah. We're all gobsmacked. Gobstoppered, gobsmacked.
And then Gary has to pipe up at the end. He's like, Templar, baby. Or no, not Templar. No, medieval.
Yeah, medieval baby.
Yeah, well, one of, full
Drayton. Full Drayton.
Yeah. So, anywho, that's kind of what we know about that leather piece. It's very exciting.
It is exciting.
I'm gobsmacked. What is that piece of leather doing in a hole, on a island in the North Atlantic, you know, from so long ago, like way before Daniel McGinnis, way before those, you know, Anthony Vaughn and John Smith, way before those guys. Like, it's indisputable. Like, look at the science.
But yeah, the science. The science. Hey, let's talk about the other war room with Krista Brousseau.
Oh, so that one. Oh, my bad. We jumped over one.
Well, we went all the way to the one at the end because of the spoils table.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we had a couple. So we had a war room where we were already kind of talking about this. And this is where she, because 2 weeks ago they found in the OC1 spoils the spike, right?
Yeah.
That came out from Michael John. He's like the finder of things.
He's the finder of things. Yeah, but this is the one that had like the cement on
it. And what they were determining could possibly be cement. We saw that in the drilling down episode before the season aired. And this is just so fascinating to me because we have the rosehead spike, and she particularly was looking at the cement-like material, which she said has low calcium and manganese, which is inconsistent. Manganese, which is inconsistent with natural or Portland cement, so like a common cement.
I guess.
Yeah, it's the most common cement you can get. This material is much more similar to like a low calcium, she said, a fly ash cement. And it also had a very high iron content. So like 15%. It's like, all right.
Yeah, so the Portland cement or a natural cement would have had a higher calcium content of at least 30%, but more commonly 40 to 60%. And to her, it looks like this is much more like the fly ash or coal ash cement.
And we know we've seen coal, right, from all over the island.
Well, charcoal.
Yeah, charcoal. Whatever.
Yeah, this is pretty cool and impressive, though, because, like, who is it? Marty. He says at some point, like, if you were to use that kind of stuff and wrap, you know, the so-called maybe chapel vault in it, it could have been basically waterproof for thousands of years, you know, until they penetrated it and, like, got
put a hole in it, so now it's filling up and the water can't get out.
Filling up?
With water.
Yeah, well, it was like 120 some years ago when they did that, so yeah, it's pretty full.
It's filled up, which is probably why it sunk to the bottom.
Yeah, it's way heavier now. And, like, you know, yeah, that's exactly what happened. The Dan Blankenship test.
Yeah, the Dan Blankenship
test. You put the wood in the water, if it sinks, boom. We'll get to that in a few.
But I thought something that was really interesting is that, like you said, being associated with the chapel vault, but Marty goes on to explain how it would be like the wood box coated in the cement, coated in clay, could make it waterproof for that long. And yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I see Agnes says that we froze, but I'm looking at my...
Yeah, well, it says that was at 10 minutes in, so I think we haven't been getting chat for a long time.
Oh, no, I've been watching it, and we are.
Oh, okay. Yep, we're good. So, yeah, I mean, this is just amazing stuff. Like, who would have thought that, okay, they're drilling, and they find this rose-headed, you know, spike, and it has cement on it.
Yep.
And it's not like the common cement, so it's like, what is that doing down there? Like, why?
Yeah, and if we buy into this idea of the chapel vault that they had discovered, right? We've all seen the animation where the drill goes down, comes up with gold and the VI on it.
The paper.
Yeah, the paper.
Parchment, my bad.
Parchment and a pear tree.
No, that's partridge.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. And this is kind of the first time we've seen any real evidence of that since the first discovery of it, you know. I mean, they've been looking for this for a really long time.
Very, very long time.
But besides that, Rick asks Dr. Brousseau if she has like the information on the spike itself, because they had sent that over for analysis.
Yep.
And she does. So she's got the rosehead spike, and it has clean iron, which means no manganese.
No manganese.
Could it be? The style of the spike is pre-1790, and the lack of manganese indicates it would be pre-1840.
But that still means it could be like 1400, 1500, 1600.
Yes.
1700.
But it's definitely just based off of the information she has. We know it's definitely at least pre the 1840.
Gotcha.
And she says it does have some phosphorus in it, about 0.5%, which would seem to indicate that this nail likely came from the UK based off of the phosphorus levels we've seen of iron coming out of there. And okay, so let's say this nail did come from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
We know Charles, a while back, we were talking about these nails that came up and some of the analysis. No, it was Doug, not Charles, said they probably would have told the blacksmith ahead of time, hey, we just need you to make us a ton of nails. They would have commissioned a bunch of them. Well, if this typically would have come from the UK, then at least in this particular story on the island, that's the origination point.
Well, they were finding the ox shoes that were UK based. Like at least that's the style they were.
But we've also found, Spanish things in the swamp, and like I say, are there two stories going on at different times, or is this something that was picked up by pirates? I mean, what we don't know.
Yeah, Marty kind of thinks he's playing the hardest game of Clue the world has ever seen.
Yeah,
it's mind-boggling.
It was the Rosicrucians in the swamp with the Bobby Dazzler. I don't know. Like that's pretty intense. I see a board game coming.
The thing that it's with is like the killing weapon. So they killed somebody with a Bobby Dazzler in the swamp?
It was made of glass. Hey, maybe the Pine Tar kiln is actually like a glass kiln, and they were like blowing glass and like making these secret recipes written in code, and they were like popping out the gemstones
to kill people with.
No, listen, they were popping out the gemstones and putting glass ones in and keeping the real ones for themselves. It was like a bait and switch. This is highly unlikely.
Written in code.
This feels more like a heist movie I'm going down.
All right, so Rick kind of wraps up the meeting with Dr. Brousseau, and thanks everyone for coming to the meeting. And, that's kind of what we got for those sort of meetings and the analysis of things. So.
Correct, Amundo.
All right, so now do you want to talk about? There's like two things left to talk about: the swamp and the money pit.
Both are rather large areas this year.
Yep. So do you want to talk about the money pit first or the swamp?
You
first?
pick.
I guess we'll talk about. Yeah, let's just do the money pit. Let's knock out the pit.
Oakley Dokley, the pit of despair.
No,
the pit of money.
It's been both the pit of despair and the pit of money for the past 225 years.
The pit of money despair.
Yeah, so Terry and Charles are hanging out with Brennan, the guy that's the lead from Choice Sonic Drilling, and they have a core drilling operation designed by Craig Tester that they're still working on.
Yep.
And it's being used in hopes of tracking a possible path of a tunnel discovered in borehole OC1. Brennan walks over and starts talking with Terry about what's going on because they see a bunch of wood suddenly. And it's like all over the table, like in the latest Choice sausage, right?
Yep.
Brennan asks if this is something substantial.
And Terry's response is, it has all the appearance of a shaft in the area where we have no real records. So, it's an unknown shaft.
Dun, dun, dun.
Could it be?
Yeah. I mean, it could be.
So, Clotworthy chimes in and let us know they're in borehole C9, which is the one we saw at the preseason show. And so, get a little excitement there. And they've discovered a wooden shaft about 95 feet deep underground. Okay. And the question now is it from a previous searcher, original money pit, flood tunnel? We're chasing it.
All of the above?
Yep. And Terry points...
Probably not all the above.
Probably not. It's like an intersection. Terry points out that this core, they have a solid section of shaft wall, which is pretty unusual. You don't usually drill straight down the wall. Yeah. which is good. Sometimes you need a little luck in treasure hunting. Rick and Craig show up to check things out, and Terry's showing them the piece that came up around 95 feet. And we can see some of it shaped. It's been planed at about like a 45 degree. Oh, he's saying this piece would have been like 45 degrees to the run of the drill. So it would have been laying not 90. So that way compared to the drill. But I don't know where the drill is because the drill could have been walking.
If you say so.
I do say so, actually. So there's that.
Yep. So they take the piece of wood, and Charles says, "Hey, let's do the Dan Blankenship test."
And I'm like, Dan Blankenship test? He has a test named after him?
I guess. And so, that was where Rick and Craig had come into, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Rick asks if they have a bucket. And so let's do the Dan Blankenship test. And if you drop the wood into the bucket, and if it sinks, Charles informs us that it is much older.
Yes.
If it floats, it's newer.
If it floats your boat, it's new.
Charles drops the wood in, and it sinks right down into the bottom. And he's like, "Yep, that's been in there a very long time."
I meant to do some Googling as to why, but I'm assuming it has to do with the density and being under water and having that material in it.
Well, if it's soaked up so much water over the centuries, and there's nothing left, and there's no part that's untouched by water left,
it becomes one with the water. It becomes part of the solution channel, not the solution. The solution would just be give us the treasure. But
yeah. So Craig is interested to see the rest of the sausage, and so they the next casing they bring up is between 98 feet and 108 feet, so 10-foot long sausage. And Rick finds a large chunk of wood in it, and Charles checks the entire section with his pinpointer metal detector. Toward one of the ends, like when he got to the end, he kind of hear him say, hear a beep, 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 beep. And he says, oh, please be a coin. Please be a coin. Like he's like over there, like,
I know, his first thing, please be a
coin. Yeah.
That would be amazing, Charles, but come on.
Hey, that's all. That's what they need from the money pit. It really is. So.
Well, they got a toonie.
Yeah. And so he...
It'd be so funny if it was a toonie. He was like, please be a coin. And it's like Marty's toonie.
Again?
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. And so Rick says, hey, let's get Gary down here. Is that throwing shade on Charles? Like, Charles, yeah, you're good and you're enthusiastic and everything, but we need a real metal detector to come down here and check this out.
I think Gary's equipment's going to be stronger. He's been doing it longer. But this island, we're known for equipment malfunctions, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like he gets it, it disappears. We're like, okay, we got to call in the big guns. Let's call in Gary.
Mm-hmm.
So they do.
They do. Gary shows up, and they seem to be having the same issues. So he's like...
Yeah, where Charles got a hit, he didn't.
Yeah.
So he's like, fine, we'll check the whole thing.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to keep checking the whole thing. And then he does get a hit, and he scoops up a piece of wood. Right?
Yes.
And then he's like, yeah, well, I'm going to turn up the max sensitivity. He gets the hit. He hands that wood to Rick Lagina. And what does Rick Lagina do with it?
Well,
he immediately
to crack that thing open because, Gary seems kind of like, oh, yeah, you should crack it open. And Craig gets to take a little look at it. And then he's like, give it. I'm going to crack that bad boy open. And he goes for it.
He just like jams in some kind of...
it's like a putty.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
whatever you have laying around that cracks wood open, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like a screwdriver would have done, right? Yeah. So they open it up. They find a little nail, and Gary's like, "Hey, if it's square, it's gonna be really old. If it's round, it's modern." So, luckily for all of us, it was a square shaped nail.
Yes, and we saw that.
So that's cool.
Yep.
A find is a find.
And so Gary says you're looking at 1700s or earlier. He says all the way back to Roman, and I'm going not Roman, but pre 1700s. All right. And Clotworthy's like, hey, it's a square nail. I'm like, it is, Robert Clotworthy. It is.
Yeah. So they come back to the money pit. They had a break there. Then we have Marty, Charles, Terry, and Steve hanging out. Marty comes over to the money pit and says, "Hey, Charles, this better be good.
You're calling me. This better be good, guys."
Yeah, I'm thinking like, wow, man, Marty must have been on something really.
But he was also very chipper.
He was.
He's been quite happy this year, like zippity doo dah, zippity yay.
Yeah.
My oh my. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. So apparently, Marty received good news: potential find out of borehole C-8.5.
Yeah. And Charles Charles tells him that they seem to have hit a piece of rounded wood, which speaks to an older piece of lumber instead of something newer, more modern. So this piece in C-8.5 came up at 40 feet.
Yeah.
That's pretty shallow for these guys.
It is, but you got to remember Dunfield. You know, when he pushed everything in.
This is outside of the Dunfield edge.
Okay,
though.
But like,
this is Tupper. They think it's the Tupper shaft, and yeah, shafts have to start at the top. I get it.
Yeah, so there's gonna be wood all the way through. Hey, that piece of wood looked like it was way bigger than the 4-inch borehole that the choice sausage comes out of.
Yes, and like I told you, like it split.
Yeah, well, that didn't enter my brain at the time. And I was just thinking like, wow, this thing's way bigger than can come out of this borehole. Like what? Like it was like,
I'm here to help.
Thank you.
To explain logistics, I guess. Sure. Is that even? I don't think that's the right word.
It's the way things work.
Yes.
All right. So, yeah, Charles says they're excited about this, and he and Doug are pretty sure that this comes from the Tupper shaft. And it's something we had never heard of. At least I never heard of.
Yeah, I mean, I think we probably heard of it in like earlier seasons, but there's been so much searching going on, and there's so much information.
There's so many shafts, it's hard to keep track of.
I know. That's why they have Steve now to take care of all the tracking stuff.
Thank you, Guppy.
Thank you, Sir Stephen of Guptill. So, Tupper shaft in 1850. So Churro Company comes in. They're the second major attempt to retrieve the treasure vault. And so they go down, let's see here. So their engineer goes down to the depth of 98 feet, just off of what the original shaft that was dug.
Yeah, the one that flooded.
Yeah. And then they start to dig laterally over, kind of like underneath the money pit at at the 98 feet, they dug over to it. And then when they get to 109, the tunnel starts flooding again.
No. In the money pit?
Could it be?
The flood tunnels strike again?
Laird in the flood tunnels of doom. Poor guy.
Man, if I could go back in time, I'd go to Oak Island and be like, guys, you don't need the flood tunnels. Just stop.
Just sit in the tree.
Nobody's ever going to find it.
Before, like, Anthony Vaughn and them show up and be like, guys, bad idea. We need to record all this. And don't go be on the 90-foot stone. Let's actually get this deciphered.
Yeah.
So are you going to do some time traveling? You may want to learn to speak other languages before you go.
In the Americas, they speak English. Unless it was like the French or the Spanish that buried it.
They speak a lot of French up in Canada.
They do.
I don't know what they spoke back in...
I would be like, oui, and that's all I know.
And they'd be like, okay. Why is there a weird guy in the tree?
I'd be like, French fries.
French fries aren't French. Oh, man.
It's in the name.
But no, we're not going into the history of French fries right now.
All right. Charles points out that they have never found this before. This is a completely unexplored area that they're in, and so that's exciting. That's probably why he's like, Marty, come look. There's some high-end items down here. I know it.
Yep. All the high-end items.
All right, so Charles asks Marty, where do they go from here? Do they chase this, or do they define the shaft more? And Marty says that they need to put the information that they have down, analyze it, kick it around with the team some more, and I think they just want to like leave that and move on, right?
Yeah, they're like, let's put a pin in this, kick it around with the fellowship.
We know where it is now.
And then Marty wants to fish a doubloon out of there, and I say, yeah, Goonies. Man, But then imagine if you pulled out a doubloon out of there. You're like, oh, great. Now I have to match up where this key goes.
No, not all the blooms have that, okay?
All the ones involved in treasure hunts do.
I guess.
They do now.
Probably not.
They should do that with Marty's toonie, like punch some holes in it. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's defacing money, so.
Yeah, Canadian government might not appreciate it.
Yeah, probably not. Okay, so that was that part of the money pit. What else do we got?
Was that it, the money pit?
No, we had one over here. That's 3. On my page 1 I have. Oh, we already talked about that, I guess.
Yep, let's go to the swamp.
Hey, wow, that was quick.
Yeah, so this is like actually from the beginning of the episode. We got Billy, Gary, Rick, Craig, Aaron, Liz, Miriam, all hanging out in the swamp.
Yeah, because
doing the work that needs to be done.
Intense this year.
Yeah, Billy's digging.
Can you dig it? Yeah, Billy can.
Yeah, Billy can. All right, and so Craig and Rick are talking about digging along the stone feature, see where it continues. And Plotworthy calls it a stone pathway leading into the uplands.
We agree, Plotworthy. Yeah. We agree.
All right, so now we like legit get to hear really Liz's voice for the real first time.
Yeah, she gets a mini Liz moment.
Yeah, it's great. And so Liz Michaels, she's explaining to Rick that this area where there's a dip in the pathway, how to start excavating that section. Liz tells Rick that they want to leave in place any rocks larger than a softball and just clean out the dirt from in between. Yeah.
So her first like real moment is getting to boss Rick around. That's pretty cool.
Get a boss around the boss.
Boss the boss.
Because like, okay, Marty Lagina and Craig Tester, they're the money guys and they're the science guys. And they're like the bosses, right? Yes. But like really, Rick's like the real boss because
because it's his baby.
Yeah, what were we watching? We were just watching something the other day where it was like from a couple years ago where they were talking about digging Gal 1. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And then like Marty's like, I don't really want to do anything else. And then Rick's like, no, we need to do this. And then
that's right.
Craig was on the phone and
he's like, I'll put in the money to do it because Marty's talking about the budget. And Craig's like, I'll put in more. And Rick's yes.
Yeah, and Rick's like, that's right, you will. I got you guys.
So then Rick like totally like goes for the heart for Marty, and because Marty's saying, will you have regrets if we don't do this? He's like, yes,
I will.
Yes, I will. He's like, okay, big brother, I'll throw some more money at it.
What were you watching?
We were just. It was one of the like best moments or something, and it Gal, what a gal.
Gal 1. Their mom was quite a gal. Apparently, that's what Rick said.
Yes.
All right, so
back to the swamp.
Yeah, back to the swamp. Yeah, so I mean, I guess Rick gets to work at that point.
Yeah, so he sits down. He gets to work. You know, he's Rick like, I gotta move stuff along.
Yeah, but Rick does say, like, I think in his like he doesn't say this outright, but he's like, man, it's a little bummer that we have to do things like the archaeology way.
But he does say it outright.
But it's really cool that they're so interested. But I mean, I wish we could be a little more aggressive with what we're doing because we kind of want to get past this.
He's kind of got this like where they're working against each other in his mind. He's got the conscience on either side. Like, okay, what does he say? If the archaeologists are like this excited about it, that's a big deal, but we kind of wish we could move a little bit faster, but it's good we have to do it the right way because this is really exciting.
If they're excited, that makes me more excited, but like he's like, come on, let's go a little faster, people, but
right, like so bring in more archaeologists, more trowels. Maybe we should just send them a box of trowels to start the season this next year.
Good idea.
If they open up the borders, I'll just show up with trowels. That's fine. I'll pack my suitcase with trowels, 50 pounds of trowels.
Okay. All right.
Think they'll let me stay? I keep angling for them to hire me this next year. I'm working on it.
Okay.
That's all I got. You think I'm crazy.
I know you are.
Aw,
right, jeez. So Gary is out there too, if you didn't know.
Yes.
And he's walking past them over the spoils pile, and something catches his eye, and he's like, "Oh, that looks out of place."
Yeah.
And so he picks it up and he's like, "Oh, there's an old piece of glass here.
It's old, all right.
Looks very old, and it's not clear. It's like it's clearish, but it's like it looks old, like super old.
Yeah.
And so he scoops it up and he's over there and he wants to show it to Rick and
yells
Craig.
Over. Yeah.
And so and he says that like if you're looking at this piece of glass, like it's thicker on one end and kind of like tapers away, like it gets much smaller on one of the other the other end of it. And he says that it's very indicative of like what do they call it? The Dutch onion.
Yeah, so bottles? Old pirate bottles, as he says, or Dutch onion bowls. It's got the iridescence in it. Craig points out the bubbles in it because it's hand blown.
He takes it and like immediately looks at it and says, points it up at the sun.
Yeah,
like he's gonna like.
He's got to analyze it. He's channeling Hensky right now.
He is.
Where's Hensky when you need him? He could have dated that.
Then she's like, "Oh, I lost that back in."
Sorry, I lost
400 years ago.
I lost my
wait, that's Charles.
Rum bottle.
That's Charles.
That's Charles. That's right. Clockworthy gets excited about a potential pirate bottle, and
1700s ish.
Yep, which makes sense. In Pirates of the Caribbean, where Johnny Depp's walking around going yo ho, and he says something about the rum, and he asks, "But why is the rum gone?"
And he's holding a bottle.
Yeah, and you see Keira Knightley like throwing the rum in. It's all in Dutch onion bottles. So if you want to know what they look like, at least in Hollywood, there you go. Go watch one of our favorites, The Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's like
number one.
That's one of our go-tos. Yeah, at least it used to be. It's not so much anymore.
Yeah, it's been a while. Maybe we should fix that.
Yeah. All right. So then they kind of leave the swamp, at least on the show, but then they do come back, and wow, it's a long way until they come back.
Yeah, we already talked about all that other stuff though.
Yeah, when they come back, we have Rick, Craig, Billy, Gary, and they're joined
Dr.
by
Spooner, the swamp
doctor, and he's like legit official the swamp doctor now.
Yeah,
according to Steve.
That? Yes, Steve Guptill.
Steve called him out like on Facebook as the swamp doctor, and so I just want to say, like, we coined that, so you're welcome, world.
But did we?
We did for
us, at least.
Like we when didn't first hear showed it anywhere else, but maybe
I think everybody probably yelled "Swamp Doctor."
Yeah, Swamp with Stiltskin didn't really catch on.
I don't like it, and I'm guessing he didn't. But I really want him on the show. It's a work in progress. Hopefully,
we'll see. All right, so Spooner points out that in his mind, The Rock isn't going to continue on forever.
ROC.
Makes sense. ROC, what, right there?
Mm-hmm.
No, ROCK.
Oh, got it.
He suggests cutting into the soil and digging a trench, scrape it across. Let's see where this ends. Let's see where it turns. Let's see where it bends. All right.
Just around the rock bend.
They look once more. Yes. And so they get Billy, the guy, the man,
the
digger to cut some trenches. They take some peeks and they're like, oh, look, there it is. It's still continuing
this way.
And then that's where Deidre, she's been harping on this all year. And it's fine.
I don't harp on things.
She harps on this, like the past few episodes of our podcast about the drilling down that was on before the season, and how Spooner was on that drilling down saying, yeah, it's like we found something that's at least 200 or 300 feet long.
Yeah, and it goes to things.
Yeah. And so
it's getting longer, guys.
Yeah, like we're seeing that happen now.
Yep.
So pretty cool. So Rick says that they go that direction, and if they don't see it, they'll go the other direction, going downhill, and see what they get. But Billy, he just finds it like right away.
Yeah, because Billy's the man.
Yeah, Gary starts to scan the spoils that Billy's kind of digging out. I don't think he finds anything. But Billy's just digging trenches, and he's finding lots of rocks and boulders. And Spooner is intrigued and says that he thinks that they are onto something, so he wants to clean it off and take a look.
So, and he jumps in the trench.
As swamp doctors do.
As swamp doctors do. And yeah, they're seeing... wait a second. You said Gary's metal detecting. Okay, once we get down the trench. Okay, so he points out. Okay, Swamp Doctor points out that where all the rocks are at the bottom, we're not seeing like the sea horizon, but it's soil instead. And the rocks are nicely fitted together, which is all a good sign, right? So far as he's concerned, something is built there.
Yeah.
And it's running along the eastern edge of the swamp. So we're taking a hard turn, right? We're not headed to the money pit.
Yeah, and that's
So where are we going?
Pine Tar Kiln?
Maybe something we don't know about yet.
It's hard to know. This is crazy. Like, the people that built it, did they cover it up? That's what I want to know. I want to know who covered it up.
Well, and that's something Marty says. I think it's Marty says later that they put in all this work, but then to go through all the effort of covering it up.
It's crazy. Yeah, like that's so much effort to cover this whole thing back up. Not with just like 6 inches of dirt. It's like feet. Like it was like a monumental task. So
yeah, well, and they could have been bringing down spoils from digging out the money pit especially if they have oxen to carry it, and bringing it downhill and covering this stuff up. It's very possible. But back to the metal detecting part. So Gary does find something.
He does eventually get a hit. And he found something kind of strange looking. Like they showed it to us, and we're like, I didn't know what it could be. I mean, but Gary says like a lever, a possible key.
Yeah. Is it Rick that says initially, or Gary says it initially looked like a key? And as Rick's kind of cleaning up, he said, it doesn't really look like a key anymore. And it's got a square hole, like Gary says, and looks like maybe off of a latch or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of looked like, like a ratchet, kind of like maybe like an early form of that, and it was just like one specific size. You stick it in, you have something else connected to it, and you start turning it. That's what it looked like to me.
Well, and he talks about it being a keg key or a cask key, or I was also thinking about, so he pulls up the lock out of the swamp in the next episode. We see that on the next time on. And I mean, I used to have a trunk, and you know how, so if you have a key that you're going to stick in, like a skeleton style or whatever, and you're going to stick the key in, and it's square, and it's going to rotate it to open it. Okay. Well,
that's what keys do.
Yeah. But over that open lock area, you'd have a flap that comes down over it, over on the trunk. And it kind of looked like shaped something like that, where
You're talking about the next time on?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Duh. But I'm just saying that this cask key to me kind of looks like one of those flaps that would go over like one of the locks on a trunk or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, if he thinks it looks like something that would keep a cask shut or a barrel or...
For years and years, I've been looking for a cask key.
Yeah, but not this kind.
Yeah, a little bit different, I guess.
Yes.
Watch Expedition Unknown if you don't know what we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, Gary just notes that it looks old, and that it is a nice square hole, but it's crudely made. Probably not a high-end item. Sorry, Charles.
It could be.
It could be, but it looks crudely made.
It does look crudely made. Maybe we'll find out.
I bet you Charles was like behind the cameraman looking, it's like,
I don't care about that. Yeah. He's like, is there something shiny nearby?
All right, so then Rick asks if the road is connected to the treasure story, and Craig is pretty quick to jump in and says that he has to believe that it is.
And Craig, man, I'd love to talk to that guy. He just says, think about the amount of people you would have to do this work. The massive amount of time, the resources, like we said, the people. He says, and just think about the time periods. What are the chances of two massive things going on at the same time on Oak Island?
This so-called uninhabited island until the mid 1700s or whatever.
It's just like, if there were two massive things going on, they're definitely at different time periods, or they're part of the same story going on at different time periods, or these are happening at the same time period. Especially for these two things to be so close together, it's one of those, is it they're debating whether or not that part of the stone pathway is connected to the other part, right? Mm-hmm. And, well, I think with Steve's helpful information, says it very well could be. I think we're going to need the swamp doctor to date some stuff and tell us.
Yep. There's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Well,
it's kind of crazy that the swamp doctor is like not like actually working in the swamp at this point. Like they got him out of the swamp.
Nearby.
He's very close by.
I mean, he's in the swamp.
Yeah, so they're kind of realizing that this is kind of like the same road, curving and going off in a different direction. Mm-hmm. Gary chimes in and says, "Let's hope this is the off-ramp to treasure."
Everybody giggles because we know that Gary, he's good at kind of breaking that tension.
He does, and we love him for it. Mm-hmm. All right, so the next day, we have another scene there with Rick, Craig, Billy, Gary, the usual cast of characters. Mm-hmm. And Billy is clearing the way as they follow the rest of the stone pathway. Right away before he even gets to digging, though, he points out what could be a large flat stone near the surface.
Eagle Eye Billy.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, I bet you his vision's like 2010.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. If he has like contacts or had corrective lenses, I would be shocked. There's no way.
I bet you he's got laser vision. Yeah, and then but Rick's like, yeah, actually, I see that, but we've got a feature, we got to follow it. They've got so many shiny objects they could go digging at, but it's like, okay, so let's follow this. Billy agrees. Let's just follow the feature. Yep. And as he's digging, it changes to black dirt, which is a good sign, right?
Yep.
And Craig asks Billy to poke in it in this trench, right? Because it seems like they're getting closer to potential rock.
With his scoop?
Mm-hmm. And I just laughed. Like, I had to pause and laugh because Billy poking it is more like hitting it with Thor's hammer or Hulk's fist. He's like, yeah, let's... Yeah, there's rock there.
That's pretty funny.
With the Craig scoop.
Yeah, you saying that actually reminds me of this YouTube channel that I like to watch. They're called How Ridiculous, and they drop things onto things. And so like they like to drop like anvils onto like trampolines, like from like I think like 300 feet high or something, or 150 feet. I don't remember, but they drop stuff onto these trampolines or into swimming pools or but they drop Thor's hammer. Like they have like a Thor's hammer that weighs like, I don't know, like 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. And they drop it onto this like watermelons and stuff. And then they have a Hulk's fist that weighs like 600 pounds that they drop on stuff. Man, it's like weird, but it's like really fun to watch. That's all I've got.
Really,
that's it. That's the end.
It is really weird.
And it's fun to watch. Oh. I enjoy it.
You know what else is fun to watch?
What?
Curse of Oak Island.
It is. Curse of Oak Island is actually better, but the other thing is like, it's fun.
But so we already saw from the trench before that Spooner was in, things were fitted well together. They seem to have found more of that. And it's definitely a bunch of smaller rocks that are fitted together. And Rick yells, "Hey, Steve!"
Why didn't he say, "Guppy, over here, Guppy"?
Next year, hopefully. Yeah. I mean, we didn't get Guppy to the masses soon enough.
Yeah. Well, it's out there now.
It's out there now.
It's out there now.
It's Guptil guaranteed. And he's about to give a Guptil guarantee here.
I can't wait. Like, wouldn't it be so cool if next season, like, you just hear Laird saying, "Hey, Guppy, get over here. I need to talk to you."
I want someone to yell, "Hearts for Scott!"
Oh, man, that'd be hilarious.
Please. Oh, man. So, anyways, Rick yells, "Hey, Steve!" And Steve comes running with the prison pole of truth. And Rick wants to know if the elevation where Miriam and Aaron are working, which is at the swamp stone pathway that they're clearing out, and where they're at with the new smaller stones, to see if the two locations are indeed like the same elevation, because it seems like they're different from where they're at. Steve's like, "Okay, I can do that, no problem," and he's like, "Click, click." Takes a couple little shots, boop, 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 boop. And
it makes that sound.
Didn't he say his old one made some kind of weird sound, and he got a quiet one this year?
Yep.
because the cameraman hated his other equipment.
That's right. The cameraman hated it
because it would make. You know why are they hating on the Prism Pole of Truth when Gary's is always like beep beep beep?
No, and it's like when he turns on, boop, 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 boop,
right? Whatever. Exactly. But whatevs. Steve says they are indeed the same level, which is 2 feet above sea level. Okay, I'm kind of surprised because I thought they were at definitely different elevations, but
do not question Steve's measurements, okay?
Do not question the science. What does Laird say?
You can't. It's indisputable. Yeah,
you can't. Yeah, absolutely not.
Yep. So I don't know. That's kind of the end of the episode, but you know, I don't know if they'll say Guppy or Guptil guarantee or.
We will.
Or
Guptil guarantees they're the same level.
Yeah, I know, but like, what was the other thing?
Guptil groupies?
No, like any of that stuff's not going to show up on the show because the show, I think they deep down love us, but they're not going to show our stuff on the show.
Oh goodness, no!
When we watched the Dave Blankenship drilling down, like Dave was like showing all this cool stuff that fans are giving him, and we're like waiting.
We're like, please.
Are they going to show the trading cards?
Yeah.
And I mean, Dave showed the trading cards to Maddie. He's like, "Hey, look at this." But then the Prometheus is like, "Yeah, we can't show that on TV. Sorry, guys.
They're just too awesome." Well, like Robert Clotworthy, he showed them to Maddie during their interview, and I was like, "They're talking about us! Look!"
Yeah,
I freaked out maybe a lot.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
It's a real problem.
All right, so next time on The Curse of Oak Island.
So we have 2 previews. We have the one that comes on directly after this.
Let me read that one because I saw that one. I didn't see the new one.
Okay, and then I'm just going to say what the other one is. So the other one was most recently uploaded to the History Channel, and usually they do like a sneak peek preview a couple days before, and that's what the second one is. So cool. Carry on.
All right, so we have Billy. He says, "Get ready for a Bobby Dazzler, Gary."
And I'm like, oh snap.
Well, if Billy's saying that, he saw something. All right, so Gary pulls a giant eye bolt out of the swamp. Like it's big.
It's huge. This is the key to the causeway.
That might not be a Gary Bobby Dazzler, but it's definitely a Billy Bobby Dazzler.
It's a Billy Dazzler.
That's what it should be called.
The Billy Dazzler.
It's a Billy Dazzler.
It's kind of like the oh man, I can't remember what they're called now.
What?
Carry on. Okay.
So then we see the money pit area. We hear someone yell 28. Then Terry yells wood at 24. And Scott says wood at 30. No, it's just kidding. He says, "This is what we want to see."
Scott looks excited. I wanted to point that out. If Scott looks excited,
that guy's never excited.
This is a big deal. This is a step above Laird being excited.
It is because like literally they gave so Billy had 1 day off this year, right? And there was a day when they had Scott get in there and do the excavating.
Yeah, over at the snake spoils.
The serpent mound, right? Yeah, and so like even like getting to replace or substitute for Billy, that would give me the biggest smile I've ever had. But Steve was just like, Scott was just like, it's just, he's like, I just do what I do. Yeah. But he's excited here, so this must be something big.
This is a big deal. If Scott's like getting in there and tearing stuff up, something's coming.
Yep. So Steve
I'm watching you, Scott.
It's completely virgin ground. So
and he sounds excited.
He does. They're all stoked.
Must be deep then because the 3D model.
I don't know. And then Gary's in the swamp and he says, "I got a signal." And he pulls up a lock out of the swamp, what Deidre had mentioned earlier. They do a field trip to Carmen Lake, thankfully. It's really great. And Scott was there and Doug was there.
Yeah, so Scott and Doug field trip it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. He calls what they're looking at a lock. And he says it could be for a box or a trunk or a heavy chest. Please be a heavy chest that was once full of gold.
Maybe it was full of shoes.
Maybe. All right,
it's a shoe chest.
Columbus's like lost shoe chest.
Yeah, or it goes to like a hat box or something. Oh man.
All right, so the second preview.
Yes, which is the one I guess I will talk about. So we see Tom Nolan and Rick talking. Tom says, "Got to get some answers," and they're in the swamp. So naturally, I want to Tom, I want to know if the hydraulic got fixed over on the Diggin location. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
We haven't gone back there.
Yeah, because they're like, it's on back order.
It's on back
order. We'll get to it next
Amazon's taken a while to get it. Okay. And then we hear, this is not something that should be in the swamp. And I'm like pausing it, trying to see. Maybe it's an axe head. It kind of looks rounded.
Wow, it's like the 7th one this year.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait a second. I can't tell if this is like a decorative piece or an axe head or what. I'm not sure. Marty says, as he's talking to Craig in the war room, I'm so sick of finding wood.
Wow.
Wow.
That's echoing a lot of people online.
Yeah.
And they just need to get over it. Sorry, people online. Like, it's, you get what you get. And what they find is what they find. You don't find treasure every single day. Just saying.
No,
Go ahead.
Called treasure hunting, not treasure finding.
Yeah, you can't find interesting things every moment of every day.
Interesting. You just can't find spendables every day.
Well, yeah.
Carmen says that this is a higher end lock.
Ooh. That's gonna get Charles excited.
And then Gary, we see a shot of Gary pulling the lock out of the swamp. And then also Gary pulling the giant like ring bolt eye bolt thing out and says, now this is a piece of Oak Island history.
Yep, and that's the thing that we saw Maddie Blake get presented from Billy.
It's huge.
Yeah. Would you feel like that's like almost a coronation? Like if you're the one receiving that from Billy, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm like royalty suddenly.
Yeah, like I said, it looked like Key of the Causeway to me, but I would feel like royalty. Man, I wouldn't want to get hit with that thing, though. Ow!
Who's hitting people with that thing?
Well, I mean, I just see, like, getting dubbed, and then, like, you're like, oh, it's too heavy! And, you know, maybe you can't get it over the head, and instead you get smacked alongside the head.
Damn.
Yeah.
No, I think
that's what happened. Like, you've seen the skull in the water.
Yeah, but they're buff. Like, they're fine.
They're all buff. They have to take the test whether or not they can knight someone with a ring bolt.
Sure.
That is your whether or not you can work on the island. That's part of the test.
Sure.
It is now. And that was it.
That's the end of the episode, and it was a fun one, and it was a good one. And hopefully the next podcast we do won't take quite so long to get to you.
We have to stop saying that because then we curse ourselves and it happens like this.
It's the curse of the Oak Island podcast.
Could it be?
Yeah.
We do have pregame tonight.
We do. 5 p.m. Pacific.
Yes.
8 p.m. Eastern. We will be here live.
Don't miss it. You don't want to.
Come hang out with us. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. Other things we need to take care of. Clot-worthy moment.
Ooh.
So we did have a vote from the last time.
We did. And there was a winner.
Yes. So we had Billy's beam versus the other beam.
Okay.
You want to know which one won?
Well, I could probably guess.
Well, I could guess too, but I have the actual answers.
All right, let's hear it. Looks like you have to hold the button down.
Oh, do I?
A wooden beam discovered next to the stone pathway? Could they be connected? Or has Billy Gerhardt just found a different man-made structure?
Or has Billy Gerhardt just found a different man-made structure? Yes, it's Billy's beam. It wins.
Billy's beam.
Congratulations to Billy's beam. You're the Clotworthy champ of the week.
You're the Clotworthy champ of the week. Wow.
And so Deidre's not wearing her headphones right now, so she can't hear what's going on. So I have to tell her when the clips are done. So this is going to be who's up against each other for Clotworthy moment of the week for this week.
Yes.
Or for actually last week. 2 weeks ago. All
right. Way to really point out our faults right now.
Yeah, it's fine. We have a lot going on in our lives, just saying.
Okay.
And it's not that big of a deal. Like, I used to think it was way bigger of a deal, but I don't hear very many people, like, complaining. They're just like, you'll get to it when you get to it.
I know. You guys are too sweet. You're too nice to us.
We heart them.
We heart you.
All right, so let's hear what is this week's Clotworthy moments. Go ahead. You have to hold it down.
A possible boot heel found in the spoils of borehole 8B.
That's it. You did it twice.
Oops.
All right, so a boot heel.
A boot heel?
A boot heel. Here, I'm going to press it this time so that I can.
Thank you.
I can
it's Henske's boot. That's what I wanted.
I thought it was.
Oh, yeah, it's Columbus's boot.
Yeah. In 1492, Columbus lost his favorite shoe, says Susan.
Yeah, and maybe it came across in a trunk with a lock on it.
Maybe. All right. So that is up against
the stone pathway.
Oh, that was it. The stone pathway.
Could it be?
Wow. That's it's a heel. That's the boot versus the pathway.
Because these boots were made for walking.
Yeah. And you can vote for your favorite Clotworthy moment of the week over on Facebook or Twitter. So facebook.com/OakIslandPodcast
Correct.
is where you can find us. And then we have a group section. Click on groups. You'll find the curse or the Could It Be Oak Island group. That's where you can vote for the Clotworthy moment. I should probably do that today. And maybe we could vote on it for a day or two.
Yep.
Yeah, so go there, and you can also go to twitter.com/OakIslandPod, and you can find us there and vote. So, vote.
You can always, not to vote, but just because you want to, you can email us, or you can find us on Instagram. So on Instagram, we're at Oak Island Podcast. Our email is OakIslandPodcast@gmail.com.
And if you want to be cool, if you want to be like Marty Lagina, who once called us,
he did,
and left us a voicemail. Like, we'd really like some voicemails, so stop being scared and give us a call. It will be fun, and
it will be a good time.
Just ask us about whatever, like Oak Island,
or don't ask us. Just say hi
about treasure hunting, about whatever. So anyway, you can call us. Our Oak Island Podcast voicemail hotline is 360-836-4549. And don't be scared.
You can do it.
It'll be fine.
It'll be a good time.
Fun. Marty Lagina did it. You can do it.
If Marty can do it, you can do it.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's everything. Do we have anything else we need to add?
I just wanted. Okay, we already talked about tonight. We have pregame. The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond podcast. We already told you guys to go join their group because Laird and Steve are going to be on their show on Saturday.
Nice.
And if you want to submit a question, make sure to do that.
Cool. So that's the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond on Facebook. Go find them.
Yep.
All right.
That's a group, not a page. You're looking for their group. Hey, join our group too. It's a good time.
Yeah.
We all like to hang out.
We don't promote our group very much.
No, we should. It's called Could It Be a Curse of Oak Island group.
And we're there, and we like to share fun things. It's
super casual, guys, and we all have a good time. Kumbaya or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I'm tired.
Well, I think that's the end of the episode. So thanks for everybody for being here live. I see all of you in the chat. So thanks for hanging out with us. And thanks for downloading the episode. Hey, you know what? We don't say this very much. Go leave us a review on Apple. We haven't got one in a while because we never say it. Like most podcasts I listen to at the beginning or at the end of the episode, they're always like, yeah, just go over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. Yeah. Like we
haven't done that in a while. Hey, leave us a 5-star review.
Yeah, go for 5. Yeah, if it's 4, don't leave a review. Just send me a message why you think we're a 4-star, not a 5-star.
Yeah, honestly, we always take our feedback.
If we're too goofy for you, well,
I'm sorry.
Go listen to another podcast because that's just the way we are, right?
I'm sorry, we're
not the most serious button down people. We like to have fun.
But we're a little serious sometimes.
Well, yeah, but we're not. We like to have fun. Yes. Like that's the difference. Some other people don't like to have fun.
Yeah, I like to smile and have fun.
All right,
have fun, guys.
Yeah, so we're having fun.
You can also leave us a review on Facebook. There's that option.
Oh yeah, that's an easy one. Or like I'm pretty sure you can do on Spotify or all these other places, right?
So that's correct.
Go find us. Go
find us.
Leave us tons of reviews. It'll be
all
great.
The nice ones.
Yeah, and we'll read them on the next episode or something like that. I don't know.
All right, guys, have a great day, and until next time,
could it be